And welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We want to note that this meeting is being broadcast on NUSD's YouTube channel at the direction of the board. The broadcast may capture images and sounds of anyone attending, FYI. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The board met in closed session, and our trustee Lametta will report out.
The board met in closed session on the following items: personal matters, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, information only, negotiations, collective bargaining, conference with labor negotiators, Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources, an employees organization, California State Employee Association, CSEA, gave direction. Conference with labor negotiators, Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources and Employees Organization, Novato Federation of Teachers, NFT, gave direction.
Thank you. We will now approve our agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll move the agenda for this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Millerick with a first and Trustee Lametta with a second. All those in favor? That's 6-4 plus our student trustees, no against. Thank you. Next, we have approval of our consent agenda. Is there any items that anyone would like to pull before we look at approval? I see none, so if we have someone that would like to approve the consent agenda. Really. We have an added item. There was a field trip that is happening before our next meeting that we have added to the agenda. It is on the agenda online, so that is now part of the consent agenda. Thank you. Trustee Mack, thank you. Who would like to second? Trustee Lametta, all in favor? That's 6 plus our student trustees. Thank you. Okay, we now have announcements from the board. We'll start with our student trustees.
Good evening. So San Marin has quite a bit going on this month of January. I'm excited to share out. So currently the seniors are working on their senior engineering capstone project. Right now they're working on a sustainable sand heating storage unit that can hold heat for periods of time. So very exciting. The Wellness Club is doing special activities for Valentine's Week, such as compliments to friends and gift cards. We're also working on Senior Showcase right now. It's a really big event that the seniors do to help raise money for prom. And so we're currently planning for it. The two main things is San Marin is celebrating Black History Month by joining the Association for the Story of African American Life and History. They're doing that by examining the varied history and life of African American arts and artisans. The leadership class and the Wellness Hub are working together with PTSA on the planning for neurodiversity. So there will be speaking engagement with student representatives, a community arts activity, and ways to learn more about individual differences on campus. So I think that's really big and exciting. We're excited about that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm from Marin Oaks. So we have a lot going on this February. It's Black History Month, so in our leadership class, we're making posters right now for different Black leaders in the past years. And for me, I'm doing mine on Audre Lorde, who is a Black lesbian writer, poet, mother, and activist, and she wrote some very, very, very interesting poetry and books that I highly recommend. And we just recently had an application workshop for SRGC and College of Marin, and we had many of our seniors attend it. In English, we're reading a book called 57th Street, which is about a crime that happened, and it deals with a lot of racial issues and LGBTQ issues. And on a really fun note, we have Valentine's Day hearts and candy for every student in the school, and we're writing their names on little hearts, and it's been really fun, and I'm part of that. And yeah, it's really fun.
I was able to attend with my two with my granddaughter and her close friend, kindergarten age kids, Moana, the performance that San Jose Middle School put on, and keeping two 6-year-olds calm for the, even though the performance is shorter than an adult performance, was still a challenge, but they loved it. And the cast was amazing, and we got a great welcome. So thank you to San Jose Middle School.
I was finally able to get to one of our middle school sports, basketball at San Jose, the 6th grade boys and 8th grade boys basketball game. Northern Council PTA I attended, and also Modeling the Way.
A lot of great things going on. I attended the Safe Routes to School mapping meeting that was for several schools that was held here. That was very helpful to help with community members and other staff people to find the suggested best and safest routes to school. Attended the workforce housing meeting. A lot of great information presented, and appreciated the many people who came for that. Followed by the town hall meeting, which was also wonderful, and thank you to the staff for coordinating that and the people that came to that as well. I too was at Moana and had a great time. I loved seeing. I thought the displays were really cool too. There was just so much creativity in all of that. And I'm looking forward to JLAC tomorrow, where we're going to go to Sacramento, several of us, and talk to particularly Mike McGuire about reinforcing the need for better and permanent funding for our schools and the focus on SPED, so, special education.
Nothing to report.
Good evening. Happy Black History Month. I'm really excited, or I was excited to hear about all the activities that are happening at our high schools to honor Black History Month. I also went to Mona, and what I loved about that is how our students, middle school students, also get to enjoy our theater. It's such a beautiful facility, so it was just, I love their creativity, so that was fun, and excited to go to JLAC tomorrow with my colleagues. It should be a good day, and I'm excited to advocate on behalf of our students. Thank you.
I attended a workforce housing committee meeting here, which was really informative and allowed some interesting feedback from our community. Went to Modeling the Way and had a visit at Hamilton.
So great to see so many people here. It's great to have you. I believe that there are some winter sports wrapping up right now. We have some, I think there might even be a game being played at 7. We have NHS boys soccer. This is kind of the NCS playoff. San Marin boys basketball, San Marin girls basketball, San Marin girls soccer, and I know for sure NHS wrestling is moving on. I'm not sure about San Marin, but good job, everybody. And then the Moana Junior show, I'm just going to echo, wow. Yeah, I saw a lot of people who were like repeat attendees. Like they couldn't get enough of it. So congratulations to everybody in that show and to Miss Fisher. The Modeling the Way was always such a treat. And we, as always, we have some fabulous employees that we get to celebrate. And there's just isn't enough time to celebrate all of our employees, but it's really fun to be able to highlight a few. We are super excited. Ms. Starr is in the house, but she's part of creating the music festival for March 7th. So we will be having fifth graders, middle schoolers, and high school concert, basically, where they're coming together to share the love of music and to continue to develop that sense of a pipeline, right? So you start music here, and you can take it here and take it there. So we're calling it the first annual. I've heard a rumor that maybe there was one in the past, but we're going to call this the first annual. And they are being very modest here in what they're giving of their time tomorrow, but we have 5 trustees and 2 student board members attending what's called a joint legislative action day, where they go and advocate for our schools and our kids with the people who are making some big decisions about funding and bills, et cetera. So that's pretty, I'm sure there's no other district in Marin who's sending this many people. So thank you so much for that. And always, I'm very, very grateful for our partners with CSEA and NFT, the leadership team and the executive boards. We appreciate the continued communication and just wishing everybody a wonderful midwinter break.
Okay. Cheer. We're lucky enough this evening to have two presentations. Our first is going to be San Jose Middle School.
Good evening, trustees and Dr. Smith, and what an incredible community turnout. We are so thrilled to be here tonight with Hamilton for both schools to be able to share with the community and the board all the amazing things going on at our school. I sent an email out to our staff and said, we have a board presentation coming up. Anybody want to jump in? It's hard to choose what to showcase for all of you. And the fabulous Miss Margaret Starr jumped in immediately and said, I want to share our choir. You are all truly spectacular. I don't think there's enough I can say about their level of commitment, involvement. There are so many parents and guardians here with us tonight who are supporting these students and the growth of an appreciation and love for music and the arts. So we're so happy to have them here. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Starr to say a few words, and then you'll get to hear their incredible voices. Thanks again for having us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for welcoming us tonight. This is the 7th period San Jose Middle School Choir, which started last year as part of the STEAM pilot program. And those of you who were in choir last year, can you raise your hand? Awesome. And then who are our new singers? Can you raise your hands? Great. And there are several students from the STEAM program last year who are now in my class at MSA at Novato High, which is the whole point, right? Dr. Smith was just saying the pipeline idea. And we're thrilled to be back presenting for you again. We got to sing for you last year, and we're going to sing Little Bird for you tonight.
That was really amazing. Thank you so much for bringing that to us.
You're welcome.
Good work.
Okay. We have Hamilton now. I feel like it's going to be very different. We get such a myriad of joy here.
It's going to be hard to follow that. See, I told you I could. Good evening. I'm Stephanie Coe, the proud principal of Hamilton School. Good evening, trustees and Dr. Smith. It is an honor to be here tonight to talk about the great work our students are doing and engaging in at Hamilton. At Hamilton, we value creating great leaders who can see outside of themselves and engage in work that impacts their hearts and the community around them. In order to do that, we need to think outside the box and provide them with learning opportunities to achieve this goal. This year, we have done just that by partnering with Children for Change, an organization that gives students the knowledge, confidence, and empathy to make a positive impact in their world. So to learn more about what we have achieved so far at Hamilton, I would like to invite up our Children for Change leaders, Gail McAllister and Gretchen Ellis, and also a few of our 5th grade change makers, Aiden Asperer, Rakeb Malayse, and Gloria Ferguson. Come on up.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. My name is Gretchen Ellis. I'm the Director of Partnerships with Children for Change. I'll let Gail introduce herself in a minute. And so, yes, we're an organization based in Marin. We serve more than 1,000 students every week across multiple Marin schools to allow them the opportunity to see themselves as change makers and leaders in our community. We do that with several different program models. We have certain schools that have us come in as a class just like art or music, and they get to take our class once a week. Other schools might have us as a lunch club or an after-school program, but all students have the opportunity to work alongside local nonprofit partners and to see themselves as change makers by doing projects, by speaking to guest speakers, maybe from nonprofit organizations or local elected officials. And they do things to serve and benefit both their school community and wider community. Our original curriculum is standards aligned. We are aligned with the Common Core and GSS, SCL standards, Learning for Justice, and UN sustainability goals. All of those things are important to us to instill in students, but also to build on the good work that is already happening in the schools that are partnering with us and inviting us into their community.
Hi, my name's Gail McAllister, and I'm really happy to be here tonight and to see all of you and to see all the families that are here in support of Children for Change and their children. I have such a great job. I get to work with these kids to engage them in the world, the wider world, and watch them just have such deep empathy and compassion and love that they give to the world around them. This year, I've taught from TK all the way through high school, from parochial to public to private schools, and I have to say Hamilton is unique. The level of enthusiasm and compassion and engagement that these kids have shown really touches my heart. So. We piloted this year. This is our first year at Hamilton. We have classes for 5th grade. We just finished up our 5th grade. These are all 5th graders who are going to talk. I'm going to not say that much. I'm going to let them talk. We did a 17-week course of meeting once a week, and we learned about, we dove into food. We talked about community, but we also dove into food justice. I just started working with the kindergarten classes, which is pretty sweet. And then all year long on Fridays, we have a service club, a Children for Change club, which these 3 have also been a part of. So in our class, we really focused on after we talked about what it meant to be in community and how we could be change makers, we talked about we dove into the issue of food justice. We decided, that's what we do with each grade level, is find a specific topic and really kind of go deeper with it. And so we learned about that through guest speakers, field trips, projects, and just all kinds of good stuff, right? And these are some of the topics that we focused on. This was a project that we did. The two fifth grades made 100 lunches for Vinnie's, which is a nonprofit organization in Marin that feeds people facing food insecurity. And the best part was they wrote really lovely, encouraging notes on every single bag. You can see some of our stars up there. We took a walking field trip to Homeward Bound, which is only a mile away from Hamilton. And we learned a lot about what Homeward Bound does, but also really got to see firsthand a nonprofit organization helping people in Marin facing homelessness and food insecurity. We had guest speakers. We had a local city council member, Rachel Farrak, came, and we had a really fun Q&A with her. And then we had Tyler Thayer, who's also known as Mr. Green Jeans, come from the Agricultural Institute of Marin, a nonprofit that runs all the farmers markets in Marin. And we learned a lot from them. And then we have the club on every Friday. And again, these three are really active participants. These are just a couple of the things that we've done. We cleaned the school with a scavenger hunt. We made more sack lunches for Vinnie's. We hosted rescue dogs. That was probably the most popular one. We hosted rescue dogs from Jessica's Haven. And what I will say about club, it's self-selecting. Kids that want to come. And we've had up to 100 kids come, 3rd through 5th grade, especially when we had the rescue dogs. And that is really cool that these kids really want to, that just speaks to how much they want to be involved in making their world better. And then we collaborate with the school, and we supported the Warm Winter Clothing and Shoe Drive on campus. And then last week, these 3 and 7 other kids from the club went to a summit in Marin with kids from all over the county, and they talked about how to allocate $1,500 to 8 different nonprofits. And they had to advocate for those nonprofits and then vote. And so they did an incredible job. They were really amazing. Their voices and their votes really spoke volumes. So, all right, I've talked enough. I'm going to pass it on to our change makers. Every month we have a change maker of the month, and these 3 have all been change makers of the month for their leadership and empathy and big hearts that they make me so proud to watch what they do. So we have Gloria Ferguson, Rakeb Malese, and Aiden Esper. So Gloria's going to start.
Hi, my name is Gloria, and my favorite part about being in Children for Change was probably when we went to the Children for Change Summit last week. I really liked it because we were able to split $1,500 to 8 organizations that helped things like homelessness, animals, and they helped people who were hungry. I thought it was awesome because we were able to support them by donating them money so that they could do better things for those people and animals.
My favorite was one of our speakers, Mr. Green Jeans, because he showed us not to waste food, and also he showed us some ugly fruits that still taste the same.
Hi, my name's Rakeb, and my favorite part about Children for Change was when we went to Homeward Bound. Miss Gail showed you the thing. When we went there, when I found out they made 800 plus lunches for everyone, and people get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It made me happy that people don't have to starve and live in the streets. They have a safe place to go to and something to eat.
And so, as their culminating activity, since fifth grade just ended this semester, they were asked to create what was important from the work they had done. And so they created squares. So if you guys want to stand out there so all the board members can see them. Yeah, go over there and show. So all the kids, so go ahead, go. So the kids got to choose what they wanted to draw about and what was memorable for them, and they created their square. And then actually a neighbor of Gail's created quilts for us. And so they are dedicating those to Hamilton School. And if the district would like to display one, that's an option too. We will be displaying them at Hamilton as well.
You know, School Fuel is doing the art showcase, so that might be great if you can.
That would, because School Fuel was, we applied for a grant to bring them to, so
that
kind
would
of
be
brings it
wonderful.
full circle.
Yeah.
But that's the end of our presentation. Any questions or anything? Yes, you can.
I'm so impressed that the three of you spoke just off the top of your head in front of all of us. That's really an accomplishment. And thank you for all the work you guys are doing.
I'll hold it because nobody wants to see me. Hold it up behind him.
Okay, our next agenda item is non-agenda public comment, of which there are none. So we will move into staff reports. Our first item at 12A is a mid-year monitoring report of the 2023-2024 Local Control and Accountability Plan, also called the LCAP, and budget overview for parents. It's a long official name.
When it gets jarred like that, it was me. There. Thank you, Ellen. Okay. This presentation is an update to our board and the community regarding our mid-year progress in year 3 of our current local control and accountability plan. The document attached to this presentation provides an overview of the current data we have acquired to date and our expenditures to date. The document highlights if there are any areas that still require attention and or the status of our implementation. Okay, and this slide here, these are the overarching categories of the local control accountability plan. And so a big component is to ensure that we are spending the dollars that we have allocated in our plan accordingly. Again, the plan summary it's not detailed in this mid-year report, but will be detailed significantly in our report come June. A big portion of this, the entire LCAP, was engaging with educational partners. So again, as we're at the tail end of our year 3, we're also ramping up for our new LCAP and definitely engaging our educational partners. And if folks haven't already, please don't forget to complete the Youth Truth Survey. We kind of look at our 6 goals that are current in this LCAP, and we make sure that we are adhering to those goals. We also look at again, with our budget overview for parents, our allocation for the increased or improved services to our unduplicated students. And just as a reminder, our unduplicated students are our foster youth, our homeless students, our English learners, and our low-income students. And finally, there's a big portion about action tables where it kind of shows exactly what we're doing to meet the goals that we have established for ourselves. And here's just a slide. This is a quick snapshot of our budget overview for parents. It currently states that we have $85,937,507 for our total local control funding formula for kind of our 75% that we explain in the LCAP. And the portion that we're really looking at kind of in the LCAP to make sure that we're serving our unduplicated kiddos is our LCFF supplemental portion, and that's $5,983,583. So those are kind of the big keys for the budget overview. And to date, for our $85 million, we have spent $31,298,362 on the plan. And for our, I forgot to write it down. For our unduplicated portion, we have spent close to $2 million. All right. I'm not going to go into a great detail about our data. We will have an additional presentation in March, kind of going over all our student metrics, and fortunately, we'll have a little bit more data for us in May. We're finishing up. Hopefully, we'll get a little snapshot of the Youth Truth Survey that should close pretty quickly. And again, we'll have kind of our Galileo second benchmark results, so we'll have more local data to present. But we covered this data already in December, kind of going over our big, broad overview of the California dashboard from our 22-23 school year. I did want to kind of, hot off the presses, we had one of our DCAN trainings last Thursday. And kind of want to just review, folks, one of the concerns that we definitely have focused on this year is kind of addressing our chronic absenteeism rate. And I want to shout out a huge congratulations to all of our teams that have been working so hard to address chronic absenteeism. And this particular slide shows a quick snapshot of 101 days. So this was last Thursday. We hit our 101-day mark for the school year. And the column in pink was the 22-23 chronic absenteeism rate to year. So you can see Linwood had a 23.5% chronic absenteeism rate. And the green column with the little purple in there, that right now is our current chronic absenteeism rate, and the significant difference is it's just noticeable. And again, can't thank the teams enough of how much attention and making sure our kids are coming to school. So good, exciting stuff happening. Nobody wants to miss school. It's awesome. Let's see. And my slide won't change. There we go. And kind of finally, what we're doing with all kind of this major mid-year report right now, how is this helping us kind of figure out where we are and where we need to go? So as we're developing all of this information and kind of looking at our progress and seeing, did we meet our targets for, our CASP data or other local measures, it's going to kind of highlight for us areas of need and areas of concern. So as we're going into our phase of gathering all the data and hearing from our stakeholders and our educational partners, we'll use kind of our metrics and show the data and say, you know what, we didn't quite meet where we wanted to be in our CASP ELA results. and we can kind of break that down by our subgroups, and we need more support here. Or, hey, we saw some improvement in math scores. That's fantastic. What are we doing here? How do we replicate that? What are some strategies that we used? And if a site's not moving to this, how can we make sure that we're giving the site or the district more additional support? So kind of really using this mid-year data to say, okay, we're doing okay, or you know what, there's still areas of growth that we need to tackle. So that's kind of the big overarching view of the purpose of our mid-year LCAP. And I am more than happy to answer any questions folks can have. Again, I apologize. It is a kind of an unwieldy document that we gave. It's basically the LCAP halfway done of all the data and metrics. So not the greatest, and we can figure out how to move forward if we are charged to do another mid-year LCAP in future years. Any questions I can answer?
Trustee Miller, then Trustee Mack.
Quick thank you. Mid-year status, formative judgments versus final judgments are always a little sketchy, so thank you, and I'm bringing it to us so we can participate in this. And here you are, what, halfway through your first year, and right in the thick of it, and I appreciate the focus on kids. And clearly you can't learn if you're not in the classroom, so commend you for picking that criteria as the thing to work on first. Thanks.
Okay. Tell you what. Anyway, I'd like to second that as well. Great work. Fantastic progress. And frankly, can you go back to slide 4? Because I think that deserves, as much attention as possible, as well as that slide. The one before it.
It's just not clicking for me right now.
Oh,
Oh, there
okay.
we go. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Fantastic on the suspension rate and the graduation rate. We knew about this stuff, but I think the public needs to see it as much as possible. With regard to the slide after this, and its impact on the first graph, the chronic absenteeism, do you think we're on track for being in the green?
I believe so. I absolutely believe so. And I'll go back to this. It's working. Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, one of the concerns that we'll have is making sure all subgroups are equally moving along the chronic absenteeism. My only concern would be if we have some of our subgroups of students who are still not meeting, that might be an area of concern. But again, as we're targeting this and we know, that's something we discussed on our Thursday meeting, saying, okay, which students aren't meeting,
right,
where we need to go. Let's keep going. Let's call. What are we doing to do that? So I think having this, local data and really being able and mindful and monitoring this should absolutely help us move.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And collectively, I think we're well on track, but absolutely right. We need to focus on the subgroups. It's more than just the top line. We need to drill down, as always, to make sure we're doing across the board. And as well, looking forward to the targeted efforts we're taking on English and math, because I see those two moving as well. So I'm enthused. I think we're on the right track and more to come. So more good to come. Thank you.
Trustee Butler.
Just curious on the March, you said you're going to come back in March with some more data. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Because that's really kind of what I was looking for myself, a little more. We're halfway, this is where we're at, but I understand you're looking for that numbers currently and to put together.
Correct. Yes, okay. And then I apologize too. We had to have this report completed by February 28th. Yeah. This is one of the requirements, and our kind of mid-year data isn't quite ready for that yet. So that's why we'll come back on March 5th and be sure to
when we
present
create our budget.
Yeah, I'm like, we're kind of, yeah, sure, we'll do that. But
what about the mid-year expenditures? Do you feel like we're in a good spot on some? And I'm sorry I didn't ask you this ahead of time to forewarn you, but in all the things that you've allotted the expenditures for, it looks like some seem to be on track, like they're halfway spent, but some may be a little bit behind, but I don't know.
And there also could be some potential rearranging of some kind of moves in the budget, which is why we potentially haven't done that. Or there could be a potential we didn't hire a couple folks because we found additional funding and kind of balancing that as well. So there's definitely a couple areas there. And when I bring forth the full annual LCAP, I'll have to explain if we did do something or we didn't, why we didn't do this, and then give the reasons behind that.
That's perfect. Okay. That's what I was kind of, okay. And then will March also be anything regarding the next LCAP that we're creating? Are you bringing back any information on that?
You know what,
or-
I can definitely show some trends, because so we've gathered some input already. I'm
Right.
hoping to get
Might be too soon, though.
but I can at least say some from the town hall. What are some trends that we're seeing? What's
would-
some of the stakeholder feedback that we've been acquiring, and kind of start theming things out. It's going to be interesting to see. And just kind of from a quick synopsis, we had 2 town hall meetings, and the themes from both of the town halls are consistent, which is great. Which is
That's great.
Okay,
Wow.
we can identify the areas of
Yeah.
need. And kind of go from there. And then hopefully I'll get some more student data, so I can say, okay, here's kind of what the adults in our organization are saying, here's what the kiddos are feeling. So I will try and definitely bring that back.
That's
for the
where your
March 5th
change will
meeting.
be. That's where the difference will be.
Right, absolutely.
Good, that sounds
Absolutely.
good. Thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
And just so we're all on the same page, the next presentation with data will be around Galileo information, which isn't yet available, is why it's not in here. And then we'll also talk more around the Youth Truth update once that's finalized. So we'll have a couple more opportunities to hear more on how it's unfolding. Anything else? Okay, thank you. And you're going to stay there and
Yeah, you
present
guys
with
aren't
us
getting rid
something
of me. I'm
else.
just gonna switch the
We've
presentations
got
here.
community schools update.
Okay. Make sure, where is it? I am not seeing it on here. This is it? Oh, there we go, thank you, okay. My glasses, we got it. All right, and, okay, perfect. All right. Okay. Well, it is my pleasure to provide a community schools update. I have 2 fabulous presenters here who are joining me with, please, and they're both very humble and very amazing people. I have Tanisha Tate from Critical Friends LLC, and I have Robin Pendoli from the Marin County Office of Education, who is the community schools coordinator. And so we're going to take you through kind of our process of how we're arriving to submit our grant for our community schools at Hamilton and Marin Oaks. So I am pleased to introduce Mr. Robin Pendoli.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. Community schools have been around for decades, all over the country, and they have been really a framework for thinking about how we ensure that every student, when they arrive at school each day, has the full opportunity to take advantage of the instruction that's happening. This was born out of something called the whole child movement that really leaned into research and learnings from over decades of work in education that saw that if children arrive at school hungry, if they lack housing security, if they lack access to quality medical care, mental health care, they will not be ready to learn. Now, what happened over those initial decades of community schools is that they came to be associated with something called the co-location of services. So bringing services to campuses so that students and their families would be able to access them right there within those central spaces within their community. What research has shown is that co-location of services through community schools works. It really does make a difference for students and their families. However, this grant is part of what's being considered not only in the state but nationally as a new generation of community schools. It's leaning further into the research to say that, yes, that co-location of services through partnerships with community agencies is a successful strategy. However, it's looking for 2 other components of this work as well. One is deep community engagement, working closely with partners, with families, with age-appropriate students, with various levels of stakeholders within the schools as institutions to ask, how do we really understand the diverse set of needs within the community, and how do we collectively come together as a full ecosystem that surrounds students, not only during their time at school, but all day, every day in our community. The second thing that this set of grants is looking for is they're looking not for the creation of new programs per se. They really want to see systems change. This is a $4 billion initiative from the state of California. It's 7 years, 2 years of a planning grant cycle with a 5-year implementation grant that goes to specific school sites. The state has made pretty clear this money will go away. This will not come back as a recurring grant cycle. And so they've really said this is about the process of bringing partners together, with community to share power. That's the CDE's phrase that they continue to use. This is about sharing power in new ways. To restructure how the assets, all of our strengths as a community, are built and run and shared on a day-to-day basis to ensure that we're meeting the needs of our students. And that is the sustainability plan that the state of California, or at least the framework for sustainability that the state of California has put in place under this grant, is to reshape the assets that already exist within this great community.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, you know, there was one other thing I was meant to mention.
Go for it.
Novato Unified is one of 5 districts here in the county that have received some version of community schools grants. 4 are currently working under implementation grants, and then Novato has just finished their implementation grant, and they're still working under the planning grant right now.
All right, I'm going to do a little kind of trip down memory lane. Basically how we kind of arrived at this point. In April of 2023, the district was awarded $200,000 to open community schools at Hamilton and Marin Oaks. And the purpose of this grant was to develop a plan to support the creation and get community input to better serve the students, the community, and the families. And with the funding of the planning grant, the district contracted with Tanisha and Critical Friends and partnered with the Marin County Office of Education with Robin and his team to really conduct the required processes and gather the necessary input and feedback from our educational partners. And this planning process was no easy feat, so I do want to thank the team here and acknowledge the hard work and effort of all the community members. So we got half the Hamilton crew here that was the powerhouse group behind all of this, and thanks to Hamilton and Marin Oaks as well. And just, you know, this truly is a partnership, and this is really exciting to see this kind of develop, and true collaboration among the community. And we're just very hopeful that we will receive the grant to continue our work. There you go.
Okay, good evening. My name is Tanisha Tate Austin. Thank you for having me. I just wanted to first start by thanking the leadership within the district for having the vision to pursue this process. Starting with the board members and also cabinet members. Also want to thank the leadership at the site level, both at Marin Oaks and at Hamilton. Like Julie said, this is like half of the team here tonight in support. And so I just want to walk us kind of through the process that we've been engaging in over the last couple months and then talk about where we're going next. So typically what like keeping what Robin said and keeping students at the center of this work. The purpose of the community schools planning team, as we are in the planning phase, is kind of here, is to reimagine our schools to better serve our students and families, to connect systems of support inside and outside of school to meet the needs of our families, and to think outside of the box, to be creative about the infrastructure that our families need. So Robin talked about a systems change. This grant is looking over the 5 years or over the 7 years for us to get to a point where the system is working more efficiently together. So they're willing to support us in being able to do that.
There we go.
Okay, so this just gives you, there's a bunch of numbers and letters here, but this just describes what the CDE's timeline is. And so essentially we started on our planning process back in November. Actually in September, we started meeting, actually in August. Robin and I finalized the grant and pushed the button last Thursday on February 8th. And so we will know if we are approved by, I believe, mid-May, so sometime in May. And so this has been our process as a group. We've met several times, like I said, beginning in having formalized meetings, planning meetings. I think we started in October at both sites. And really the charge from the CDE with a planning grant is to do both the needs assessment and an asset mapping so that we can really elevate the needs that are occurring in our communities. And so that's what we've been doing so far. And as you can see, here are some dates that we have coming up for future planning meetings. And during this time, we've collected input from multiple stakeholder groups or multiple learning partner groups. And so at Marin Oaks, some of the process has been collecting it through Meet the Teacher Night. So we were talking to parents there. We did a family engagement day where we talked to 78 of 89 students at Marin Oaks. So we talked to the majority of their students. We asked them questions about what they need. We talked to parents. We had 2 parent sessions that day as well. And then we've also had a teacher input session with the Marin Oaks staff about what are the needs what are the barriers that are getting in the way of students being successful? What solutions do they see being able to mitigate those barriers? Similarly, at Hamilton, there were also some opportunities for parents to provide input. So Amy and I did a presentation to the Mothers Club group. We also talked to ELAC and PTA. And then there were surveys that we tried to get family feedback from at utilizing events that were already happening, so multicultural night and parent conferences. And then there was also an opportunity for teachers to kind of write about what they love about the Hamilton community. And so there is one missing slide. We don't have it. So based off of all that input and feedback, there were a couple of themes or emerging needs that we've noticed. And so this will be able to be provided later. But for Marin Oaks, some of the themes that are coming up around emerging needs are transportation, food security and housing security for students, extended learning opportunities, additional culturally relevant program opportunities. So, for example, being able to take additional CTE courses or have hands-on experiences that they will be able to utilize after they graduate high school, and mental health support and coordination of services. For Hamilton, what was coming up as emerging needs are before school care, bilingual mental health services, improved school climate, improved collaboration amongst the parent leadership groups. So there are a couple of groups, but improved collaboration amongst them. And improved quality of food for students at lunchtime, so still that food security piece. And services for newcomers, an increase in school safety, and new turf to bring it to the parents were speaking about the turf not being the same as the other schools. And so the last time we met, that team did decide that they wanted to elevate the improved school climate, services for newcomers, and increased school safety as kind of like the top priorities of the emerging needs. And based on all that feedback, the other side's missing too, sorry. Based on all that feedback, we submitted the grant, and we asked for services that, thank you. So we asked for an opportunity to be able to partner with local organizations to increase food security for students. That was a huge deal at Marin Oaks. Students were like, if we had warm food, we would get to school on time. And so when you're not meeting students' basic needs, something for us to think about as a community. Professional development for staff based on the 6 pillars that are within the grant. This grant really wants to make sure that people, after the 5 years, that staff is trained, that professionals have the information that they need. They put a lot of emphasis on professional development. Also, a bilingual school social worker or mental health worker for the Hamilton community. And then a community schools lead at both school sites. The grant really kind of encourages that you have a community schools lead, so someone that's on the ground being able to connect services and kind of get the momentum going to propel the school, the community into the direction of being able to kind of shift their thinking around how we're doing things. And of course, materials and supplies. One example, we've just gotten started, right? So the plan is that the group will continue to grow. We'll continue to assess what the needs are. You'll go back. You'll look at the strategies. You'll revisit those yearly. But one example I would like to highlight is that at Hamilton and at Marin Oaks, actually, we were speaking to our colleague over in San Rafael about his collaboration with the community clinic. And so based off of that, I was able to reach out to the physician there. And so she's now going to start attending our our community schools meetings, which will give us an opportunity to really figure out like how are we providing, services to students. So the intention is to, as we grow, as we go along, is to involve more people in the process so that we can think about how the systems are working to better support students. Are there any questions? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm the student representative for Marin Oaks. I've been there for 3 years, so I've been there since sophomore year. I know a lot about the issues there. So you mentioned something about transportation, and that has been like a big issue for us for a long time. And I was wondering, like, if you guys already have an idea of how to set that in plan. Like, is it going to be school buses? Like, I was just wondering.
Good question. I don't have an answer for you yet. I think that's a part of the process. One of the things we're thinking about is trying to include what is it? What's the organization? Transportation Authority in the conversation at the, across multiple districts around the need to address like students not being able to get to school. So that's a long-term sort of process. I don't have like we're getting you bikes next week. So it's a work in progress.
Trustee Gasson?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it
ahead.
okay if I
Yes.
ask like one more
I
question?
didn't know. I'm so sorry.
Is there like, am I allowed to add on to like one more issue maybe that I could just give you that you could talk to?
Sure.
One thing about our school that I think is a very necessary thing that we should have is we don't have a school nurse. And that's something that we definitely have a problem with. Like, I deal with migraines and other issues, and I've come into school one day and I'm like, I'm really not feeling well. Like, I don't know what to do. And normally, most of the time, students just go home. That's probably has a lot to do with some of the absences that we have, because we have a major absence problem at our school. And I often just go home because there's no one there to really help me. And I think that's something that every school should have, because every other public school I've been to that I've attended to has had a nurse, and we don't have a nurse. And I think that's something that's just like kind of a basic need for a school.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you.
Oh, Marty on. So thank you for including this grant request slide, and I actually look forward to the other slide that we don't have yet.
That one. There you go.
So from hearing what you presented, so this is the ideas for 5 years. So these costs, I'm thinking some of these need to be duplicated over 5 years. So social worker, for example, so that would be $85,000 per year. And then, but some of them seem like they might be. So what was the total grant request that we made?
So I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like 2,100,400 and something. But Marin Oaks gets 150,000 a year, and Hamilton gets $300,000 a year. Until the 5th year, Hamilton gets 225, and Marin Oaks gets 115.
Okay. So the idea, though, too, and I appreciate actually a lot of the background information was extremely helpful for me. So the idea is that we put in infrastructure or systems in place, and then after 5 years, we carry them forward on our own, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Trustee
you.
Mack?
Does it work? Okay,
Works.
it works. So I'm an optimist. So I'm an optimist. I think we're going to get this. I think it's going to prove out, and I think we're going to have a fantastic system in place after 5 years. I'm thinking beyond that. So let's be optimistic, say that's happening. Then how can we and when will we look to expanding this beyond a pilot population? Obviously, we're focusing on the most important population, the best population at this time to focus on, because it's a pilot. But we have some very large populations at many of our other schools, and I'm not asking for an answer right now. I'm just asking that as we progress and we start showing, so we get the grants and we start planning, we should be planning almost immediately 5 years ahead for how we're going to roll this out to the 2 high schools, the 2 middle schools, the 2 other middle schools, and maybe to the elementaries. That's a request, so.
I'll leave that to the superintendent and the assistant soup.
That's why you wanted to laugh.
I mean, what I heard in the presentation was this is about building capacity in systems. So if there's replicable pieces that Hamilton and Marin Oaks find successful, those would be pieces that we could apply to the other sites. But the lack of funding is always going to be one of the barriers.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you so much, and we
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear. Thank you for your hard work. Next up, we have discussion action item 13A. Leslie Benjamin, Director of Communications and Community Engagement, approval of Novato Unified School District Comprehensive School Safety Plan.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Trustee Superintendent Smith and our student board members. Each year, our school site is required to maintain. Oh, again? Okay, is that better? Okay. I've already said my hello, so I'll just dive right in, okay? Okay, so each school site is required to maintain a comprehensive school safety plan. These plans address school climate, discipline data, disaster procedures, emergency plans, anti-bullying procedures, and overall school safety. These plans are developed in conjunction with the school site councils of each site and are shared with law enforcement. And tonight the board is being presented with this plan for their review. I would also like to highlight a couple of sections in this plan. This year we expanded the introduction to include our annual safety goals. In Section 3, subsection J, we're addressing students with special needs. And we've included the Threat Determination Manual and the Crisis Response Plan from the Marin Office of Education. Thank you.
Questions, comments? This is an approved item, so if anyone would like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Trustee Mack approves and
Second.
Trustee Millerick seconds. All in favor? 6 plus 3 and none opposed. Do you have a question? I did.
I was just going to say thank you for all this work. I can only imagine all of the different pieces to pull together. And as someone who's done disaster preparedness and everything for many, many years, I really appreciate your thought and including some of these additional elements as well. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up we have Dr. Sinyard back again. Item 13B, review and approve a board policy in the zeros.
All right, thank you again. Have another board policy for you, another first read. This is BP 0520, Intervention in Underperforming Schools. And so, again, very fitting with the LCAP, so we're getting the whole thing this evening. California has adopted a continuous improvement model to support school districts that are experiencing challenges identified through their LCAPs and or the California dashboard. This model offers support to school districts, and this support is called technical assistance. And it kind of outlines how County Office of Education and school districts will partner to improve the educational outcomes for student subgroups that are low performing and or experiencing significant disparities between different groups. And basically, this policy is just detailing the necessary steps district must take and the supports the county office will provide for them. And kind of, again, in conjunction with the County Office of Education, they clarify additional opportunities to improve student learning. So this one's really straightforward. This is what we do if we are identified for technical assistance, and this is how we work together.
Great, any questions or comments? Okay, would anyone like to move to approve this item? Trustee Lametta, and a second by Trustee Millerick. The other M. All those in favor? 6 plus
Does that bring
3.
it back as a second reading? Is that what you did? Is
Yes,
that the motion?
apologies. This comes back as a second reading on consent.
Consent.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Next, we have the election of the 2024 California School Board Association Delegate Assembly Representative for Subregion D3, which is actually 3D, apologies. We have Maureen De Neva Marsh from the San Rafael School District is proposed to be our delegate. And do we have a motion to approve this delegate? Trustee Lametta, thank you. And seconded by Trustee Butler. Okay, all in favor? And none opposed? That's 6 plus 3, thank you. And I don't think that has to come back. Next up, we have Joshua Braff and John Delana with a discussion action item approving the utilization of the California Multiple Award Schedule purchasing agreement for Verkada security cameras and equipment to support the final phase of security camera installation. Yay.
All right, thank you. So yeah, tonight we're bringing a CMAS contract for you for the cameras purchase at 14 sites. This is for AMS.net, and they'll do all of the purchase and the configuration of the cameras, about 150 cameras. I understand that Loma Verde may have gotten left off of the board item cover, but Loma Verde is one of the sites, so it's all 14 of the sites. That'd be Hamilton, Pleasant Valley, Loma Verde, San Ramon, Novato Charter School, Luz Sutton, Linwood, Rancho, Olive, San Jose Middle School, Sinaloa, the Hill and Marin Oak site, as well as the district office, and then the transportation fans.
Great. Questions, comments from the board? Trustee Millerick?
So the total contract amount is about?
It is $731,000.
Okay, good. And in my understanding is with the adjustment to the site list to correct the error, this actually completes every one of our physical sites with the Verkada camera. I want to say rollout, but it's also an upgrade from the Oculus.
All of the Ocularis are complete, or they're gone at this point.
Mm.
So we'll have to come back to you for a request for a contract to do all of the conduit and the cabling, as well as the mounting.
Okay, so this just buys the
This'll
cameras
buy-
in boxes sitting in a warehouse.
This will buy the cameras, and then AMS.net will do all of the cataloging, and then they'll configure the actual cameras, and then they'll work with the district to make sure that they're pointed in the right directions and any adjustments that need to be made.
And we think based on so up to now, the elementary schools have had none or very minimal security camera coverage. Do you have any idea how, some estimate is the kind of work it's going to take to put these 150 cameras in place? Do you have an idea what that contract's going to
In terms of pricing?
Well, yeah.
So
some mentioned bigger than a shoebox kind of conversation.
Yeah, so right now we're waiting on the drawings to be completed. The cameras take a little over a month to get, close to 45 days at this point. But we'll come back to you with that. As soon as we get those drawings, we're expecting it'll be probably around $250,000, $300,000 worth of work. But I'll need to confirm that number as soon as I get the drawings.
No, you couldn't know because there's no drawings. Nobody could bid it.
We're able to put some rough budget numbers to that.
Engineers guessing numbers.
Correct.
And with that complete, then will this work get done over the summer, you think?
Yeah, so we'll start this work over the summer, and it'll bleed into the fall.
Okay.
But I expect by the end of the third quarter, we'll be complete.
And then we will have security coverage across all of our campuses.
Correct. You have security coverage through all the campuses now, but this will be the comprehensive coverage, because all we've done to date is at these sites replace the Ocularis that was there before.
Yeah, so like at an elementary school, I think right now maybe there's one camera that just looks at the front entrance.
Right.
And this is a significant upgrade.
This is a significant upgrade, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification for this. I'll move approval unless there's other questions.
Trustee Gasson?
Sorry, just to clarify, 'cause since you mentioned the number, I was looking at a different one. So the 681 on the purchase agreement or the quote is the cost that we're approving because it doesn't look like it's including the installation.
The 681,000 is for the cameras and the licensing,
Right.
and then there's an additional $50,000 that's for the configuration.
Okay.
That is not including any of the mounting or any of the wiring or conduit to make them work.
So the estimate of 731 is just like adding some of that stuff together.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So I'm all good. I can second. If
Okay.
anybody-
Okay, we have a first by trustee Millerick and a second by trustee Gasson. Any other comments?
One additional comment. I
Sure.
talked to our IT group, and the Oculus cameras use significantly more bandwidth than these Verkada cameras, and they're very favorable comments to the work, to the installations that have already occurred. So if that's useful to anybody else.
Great, yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
But I moved, right?
Okay, all in favor? 6 plus 3 student trustees. It's approved, thank you. Our next item is with Joshua Braff, our CFO, discussion action item approval of resolution number 15, 2023-2024 for Novato Unified School District to partner with Public Agency Retirement Services to provide a retirement incentive for this year. That's close enough.
Big enough. All right, so tonight we're presenting to you the Resolution 15, 2023-2024, which is for Novato Unified School District to enter into a retirement incentive for our classified and certificated non-management, management, and unrepresented. So basically the entire staff. This is a little bit about the program and what some of the sort of requirements are. And I will really clarify what you're actually, if you are to move for approval on this resolution, what you're actually approving tonight. So the demographics look a little like this. So for certificated non-management, we have 94 eligible employees. It is obviously based on age. We're talking about retirement. So it's going to be someone who has either been in the Cal STRS retirement group for 5 years and are over 55, or have been in it for 30 years and are over 50. Then for certificated management, considerably less, but there's also considerably less certificated managers, 5 in that group. For classified, which is similar but is in the CalPERS network, some similar age ranges there. We have 129 eligible employees. So this is eligible. This is not anyone. This has not been presented to the staff yet. Nobody is taking the incentive yet. This is just who's eligible. And then for classified management, we have 2. So what does that look like? This is the form that's presented by PARS. PERS and PARS. It's very close, but by PARS, this is what our staff who are eligible, so all those numbers of staff members that we saw before, each individual staff member will receive a packet from PARS as soon as Monday. Will come to their house, and this form here will be specific to that employee. So it will actually take in what their last current year earnings are. And the PARS retirement incentive is 70% of final pay, paid out over 5 years. They can also extend that. And this breakdown shows that there's a lifetime payment that they can pay over a lifetime, right? Longer than 5 years, hopefully. There's joint and survivor, and then down to just options of payments. This is all handled outside of NUSD. So NUSD does not have to be involved. We're not signing up anyone for more work. PARS takes care of everything and does all of this analysis and sends it out. But you can see that it's an annuity payment, so it goes on for a very long time. So it's a hopefully a great incentive that people are going to find very useful. And this will be the same no matter which classification they were in, certificated or classified. Some of the important factors of what we're looking at for why we would offer this is that we have sort of a break-even analysis that we have to look at. And that break-even analysis says, Okay, out of 94 we'll say 230 eligible employees in total, the estimation is around 42 people will take it. That's just an estimation based on, averages. If we were to replace 100% of those people, in other words, 42 food service workers retire. Well, we need those food service workers back, right? We've got to hire them back. What this column, this center section here is saying is that that would basically over time, we would see a 5-year projected savings of about $100,000. So not a huge savings by any means in terms of our budget, but it also means that we could probably go ahead with this without any risk of it giving us more cost. So we could do something for our staff without actually inflating our budget. But then the question sort of becomes, well, at what point does it start to really make financial sense to save us money? And it's actually a really small number. The one right below that shows that if you were to not hire back, so in other words, 42 people leave, but we didn't hire back 2 people, that's a 5-year savings of around $850,000. That's how quickly this ramps up. And what we can see on this one here is that now there's no possible way that if 19 certificated staff left, we wouldn't have to hire back 19 certificated staff. But just to see the extremes, it shows there that a 5-year savings of 19 staff members would be $8.4 million. Those are really big numbers. That's probably not what we're looking at here. We're just trying to show that it's fiscally sound is the point of that. There's also one for classified non-management, and so same sort of idea. If 20 people left and we did not have to fill those positions, it'd be a significant savings, but that's not the reality of what we have today. A couple of key points and what is really being asked of you tonight. The resolution allows PARs to now act on our behalf and reach out to our staff that are eligible. They already have, just lying in waiting, our staff information. And so if we approve tonight, they're ready to send everything out. What this looks like is that we are then on the hook for a $5,000 payment. That's for their work for them to actually send these packets out, do all this analysis that they're going to run over the next 2 months. So why is it $5,000 and not the 5.5%? The 5.5% fee is worked into whatever the final analysis is. So if 20 employees take it, the salary that's being paid out, they take 5.5% of that. That is worked into those analysis that we saw earlier. So where it said that even if we hired back everyone, there'd be a very small savings. This 5.5% is taken into account. And that's why there's only a small savings. Because even though we're saving on the positions of having more veteran staff leaving and hiring more rookie staff, there's still a 5.5% increase on that because of the cost here. So why then, again, $5,000? And that's the timeline here. So where we're at right now is February 13th. It would be asking for approval of this resolution. Beginning, they put on here February 14th, but it'll probably happen over the week, over the rest of the week. And as soon as Monday, staff will start receiving their packet. In late February, PARs will be coming here to meet with staff members to have an in-person conversation if anyone has any questions. They're calling it an orientation. And then the first week of April, they will do an employee workshop, is where they will actually come again to the district office and people can sign up with them. So the first time is an information session. The second time that they come is to actually collect packets in person. Because some people, of course, don't want to send their packets with social security numbers and stuff like that through the mail or email. They can do it in person. And this staff will be there, the PARS staff will be there to help them fill it out. But on April 5th, the enrollment window closes. So on April 5th, we will get our final report back that says, here are all the people that have agreed to take this retirement incentive. This is what it shakes out to, the amount of certificated, the amount of classified. We can run it any way we want. And so on April 23rd, staff will come back to the board and ask for actual approval of the PARS retirement incentive and to enter into the retirement incentive. Because at that moment, we can decide, you know, in the example before, this completely gutted a program that we can't recover from. All of our bilingual staff members took the retirement incentive. There's no way we can run school next year. Please do not approve this retirement incentive. You know, like that sort of thing. The odds of that happening, incredibly low. More likely is nobody took the retirement incentive, and therefore we're not going to move forward with it because it doesn't make any sense. You know, that's the more likely option of the two. But the number one option is probably we're going to see. We see here that 210 eligible people. We're probably going to have a handful of staff members that take this and are hopefully are very happy with it. So unless there are any questions, we ask for your approval on this resolution tonight, which I believe has to be a roll call.
Questions? Trustee Gasson?
So, just a couple of clarifications for me. The fee schedule, so the 5% minimum per year over 5 years, so is that a total cumulative cost of $25,000?
No, so the 5,000 is just for the work between now and April 23rd.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I saw the funding request, but, so what's the over?
The 5.5% is that they take that, it's kind of worded poorly. The total amount is 5.5%, but they bill us over 5 years.
Oh, they bill us over 5 years?
Yes. So they
okay.
know on April, 6th, basically, how much that fee is going to be. So if we agree to it, now
that
we're on the
makes
hook
more
for the
sense.
next 5
Okay.
years.
That's
Yeah.
because the way that this was reading was incongruous with the other section. So, but if we decide for some reason not to do it, we owe them $5,000.
$5,000, yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. And then I presume it doesn't specify where the money's coming from, but it's basically built in that we're saving the same place that we're saving the money from.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Would someone like to make a motion to approve this? Trustee Lametta and Trustee Mack is seconding, and this is a roll call. Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Millerick.
Aye.
Trustee Pickus is absent today. Okay, thank you.
Got the next one too.
Josh is still here?
All right. I'm not going anywhere.
Go ahead.
So the next final item for tonight is approval of a contract with Commercial Energy for Novato Unified School District to receive natural gas energy. Currently, we have a contract with Spur. Spur is kind of, I guess, a conglomerate of sorts. They do a lot of different things. One of the contracts we have with them is to get bulk natural gas prices. They are ending that wing of their business, and they are ending it as of the end of this year. So what would happen if we did nothing is we would default to going back to PG&E's retailer program. So like basically the same thing that we have at our house is just regular PG&E. CE is a company that does basically the same thing that Spur did, but they offer a really, really good value. They are the largest supplier in the United States. And I got their new number today, so it's slightly different than the one that you had in your packet because it is a market rate. So we had to take the close for today. If we sign, if you all approve today, then we sign today. It's 0.01 cents up from what it was. So I think it was 6.89 and now it's 6.9. I believe it was 0.689 and now it's 0.69. So 0.001 cents up. So functionally not anything different than what was already there, but it is a market rate, so it was variable. So we ask for your approval on this contract.
Trustee Millerick and then Trustee Gasson.
How much do we save over the retail rate we would be paying to PG&E?
About $40,000 a year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And this is also, I should clarify, it's a 1-year contract. So we would renew every year.
At the current rate each year?
Yeah, the market rate each year.
The market, okay,
So
but
we
it's
lock
steady
in-
for that,
Yeah.
it's the market rate today for 1 year fixed rate?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
They lock it in for a year.
I just want to say, I think it's cool that something that sounded like, uh-oh, turns out to be, oh, yay. So I'm all in favor of it, unless anybody else has any comments, or I would say, motion to approve the contract with Commercial Energy for
Great.
NUSD.
Okay, we have first by Trustee Gasson and a second by Trustee Mack. All in favor? 6 plus 3. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is the end of our agenda. Our next meeting is on March 5th. We will see you then.